How you doing? It's the Butcher here. Today I wanted to make an updated video on my Druid tier list for the Gauntlet. This is coming after we got all the latest information on the campfire chat that was last Thursday. Recording this a little bit later, unfortunately I was away, but I wanted to get this video out before the actual Gauntlet release to give some people some time to decide which build they want to play first in there. But up now you're going to see I have the original list I had when I made this about a week ago before we had the additional information from the campfire chat. So just to recap, I took away some of the meaningless builds. Like I had companion builds on here. They did get buffed. I still think they're not worth even putting on here. We'll recap. The only reason I actually have Bulwark on here is honestly because some people, might have played it in season 1 and it was so overpowered. They don't realize how heavy it was nerfed. So I wanted to throw that in there. But besides that, we have Poison Landslide. That's why I have these two here. And this is just a thing of all the skills. So sorry, it's a little bit off. Didn't say the build name. We have Rabies. We have Stormclaw. We have Trample Slide. We have Pulverize. Wear NATO. Boulder Shred more specifically, I guess I should say. Lightning Storm, and then Shred. This is the original way I had it. So going through, we're going to reorder these a little bit and make a couple changes here. I'm going to explain kind of my thought process behind these. So F tier, I think it's still Bulwark, is way lower than these. I'm still fine with C tier with Rabies and Poison Landslide. Don't think either of those are going to be very good for this. B tier is where it gets a little bit interesting. So B tier I had Pulverize, Trample Slide, and Stormclaw. So because it is so speed focused, I'm actually gonna go like this, and I think that's where I want to keep it. I don't know if I want to switch these two around, but I think I definitely want to put Trample Slide ahead of it, and I think I want to put Stormclaw too. The reason is Pulverize is just such a slow build, and this content is so easy. The whole point of it is speed. You're basically going to be one-shopping everything with any build anyway. I know it's a good room clear. It's just slow. I don't know. You could go back and forth between these two, but I think the mobility of a Trample Slide probably keeps it at the top of B for me. Don't think it's enough to push it into A, but that's kind of where we'll leave it right now. And then getting into our top 4, it's kind of where it got interesting last time, and it's still interesting. So the first one we have is Wear NATO, and this is an interesting one. So it's still, I think, very good, but the problem is it's a little bit slower, and the way the Gauntlet's set up, you can kind of kill stuff off screen, but you kind of got to sit there and cast them. I think I want to move this down to the top of B. I no longer consider it one of what I would call the meta builds, which would be S and A tier. So I want to move it down one spot, but it's still very good. I wouldn't be surprised if I wanted to move it back up after playing some of the builds, but right now I want to move it down to B. It can clear stuff off screen, but compared to some of the other ones, the monsters are so low level. I don't know. It just seems like it won't be as efficient as some of these other builds. So next one here is actually going to be Boulder. And like I said, Boulder Shred. So you get the mobility of Shred. I am actually going to move Boulder up into the S tier. And I'm going to tell you why. So my main concern, I have two main concerns with this. Or I did have two main concerns with this. The fact that you actually have to cast the boulders, and that takes a little bit of time. But then the second one was it was just slower because of the fact that you couldn't wear the a normal amulet and couldn't get movement speed. You had to use the Dolmen Stone. But because there's a ton of shrines in here, and you get 25% movement speed when you grab a shrine, plus the way we're running it, we're using Ghost Walkers on our boots, you'll actually get plenty of movement speed, and the AoE clear on this thing is great. The single target damage is great. Like I said, there's a little bit of a snag that you have to keep casting it and stuff. It might slow you down a little, but I'm going to move this up into S tier. So next up is Lightning Storm, which I had ranked as the second best build. I'm actually going to move this one down into A tier. The reason being, again, is because it's so focused on speed. Lightning Storm, great AoE damage, but you have to stand there and cast it, and you can't constantly be moving. Maybe there's even, I don't think you can really make a version where you add in Shred, because you still have to sit there and cast it while we're using Shred with the boulders. You're able to get the boulders going and then just constantly shred to groups of enemies. So I'm going to move Lightning Storm actually down to A. It's still extremely strong. There is still kind of that aimbot component on controller, so that could get interesting. But right now, I just think it's a tick below some other builds. And then finally, we have Shred here. I'm going to keep this in the spot that it's at. And why do I have Shred over basically the Boulder Shred version? Well, a couple reasons, I guess. Like I said, one, we'll get even more movement speed than Boulder, so we'll be even faster. It doesn't have quite the same AoE, but we're gonna like one-shot literally everything. And then with the elites, we just petrify them, bring them in, and we just constantly repeat that stuff. And because they're so low level, while we're using the Exonerable Will ring, that will actually kill stuff way off screen that's supposed to be pulled in. They're just gonna die before they're actually be able to be pulled in, and that's great for us. So I'm gonna leave Shred there, and then there's also the fact that I think it is the best build to use the Spear of Lycander, which means we could probably like double dip on shrines like the whole time. And if you get good shrine RNG, I think you can blast away at this. So it's pretty interesting. And I think I'm going to keep Shred as the #1 build, although I think Boulder Shred, especially with that movement buff we're getting, is definitely a nice contender, because before, in order to get that shrine movement buff for an extra 25%, which is basically kind of counteracting what you would get on your amulet typically, you would have to drop some pretty important aspects to get it. So for me, that bumps it up quite a bit, especially if we start stacking maybe some shrine duration on our boots and stuff like that. We'll have to see exactly how that works, and that's when I'm going to update my build guides and stuff once I see exactly how everything plays out. I don't really want to do it before the Gauntlet. Seems a little bit pointless because I think they're fine for right now until we see how things work out. Like if shrine buff duration is meta or what ends up being good. So I'm going to leave this the way it is. I think this is my new updated tier list for Druid builds. So again, I guess the main things to note here is Pulverize is moving down, not a tier, but moving down to the last of D tier just because it's speed. Where NATO is moving down from A to B. Lightning Storm is moving down from S to A. Boulder is actually moving up from A to S, and Shred still remains my top build. So it's been the Butcher. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Just wanted to kind of give you an updated tier list of what I think going into the Gauntlet, so you guys can choose kind of your starting build to go in with and see how you guys do. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. I'm going to make a video with my kind of qualms about it, because there definitely are some. And I'm definitely going to make a video updating kind of the status of Rogue as well too, which is the other class I've been covering this season. But beyond that, probably just wait until again to Gauntlet, might live stream, might post some gameplay and stuff like that, but then also update my build guides as we go and what's working the best for Gauntlet. So like I said, it's been the Butcher. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.